Giulia just turned babyface on Kiana James on Smackdown. Let's talk about it. So we had the Queen of the Ring tournament match between Bayley, Raquel, JC Jane, and Kiana James, which was won by Raquel. Very interesting choice. I'm excited to see where that goes. However, what was more interesting was after the match. Giulia was ringside during the match, and she finally turned heel after the match. And everybody, I think, thought that this was going to be another A-Town Down Under situation where this just kept getting teased every single week. Giulia attacked Kiana James, and there is some people questioning whether or not it's a babyface or a heel turn. I think it's definitely a babyface turn. They were both heels. She turned on the other heel. I think that makes her the babyface. And they also did it in a place where they love Giulia. I mean, the crowd was literally chanting for Giulia when she wasn't even in the match. In front of the Italian crowd, an awesome moment for Giulia, and I really hope, just hoping and praying to God that this is, a fresh start for Giulia, and that she actually, the WWE actually uses this momentum that Giulia just created and got, and I think she needs to win this feud over Kiana James and reestablish herself, and maybe give her the US title again. Maybe send her over to Raw, send her to the IC title division. That would be pretty sweet. I think this was really widely agreed upon as a fantastic heel turn, or a babyface turn, and a fantastic moment. I love this, and it seems like everybody else did too. The show kicked off with Gunther whining about losing to Cody Rhodes at not Crown Jewel, at Clash in Italy. He was interrupted by Cody Rhodes. Surprise, surprise. They had a little back and forth, and it was looking like they were going to do their rematch that night, and then Sami Zayn decided he would interrupt and ruin it for everyone, and it ended in a brawl. Sami Zayn said some really interesting stuff, and right stuff. He was correct. And it's looking like we might get a Gunther versus Sami versus Cody match at Night of Champions, which I would highly prefer over just Cody versus Gunther. I think adding Sami Zayn would add a really interesting part of this story. I am not invested in the Cody and Gunther story, but adding Sami Zayn would definitely help. The hot take for this one is, so in simple words, Gunther is crying like a little bitch, which honestly he did. Staying on the topic of Sami Zayn though, we had the return of Chad Gable on the main roster after 11 months, maybe even a year, I'm not exactly sure. And he is now on Smackdown, which I did not expect, but I am so pleasantly surprised. He got a huge pop from the Italian crowd, and it's looking like he might feud with Sami Zayn, which I think would be pretty sweet. He might also be feuding with Rey Fenix, the new AAA Cruiserweight Champion. He gave a really serious formal apology to Rey Fenix. He forgave him. He apologized for the whole El Grande Americano thing and making fun of him and the other luchadors. I did kind of want to see him go after Penta and win the IC title, but you know what? If he's doing great over here, I am not going to complain. And it's looking like American Made. I don't know if American Made's getting moved over to SmackDown, if he's leaving American Made. I don't really know. I kind of hope he is leaving American Made because it wasn't really doing anything for anybody or anyone. We had a face-off backstage between Trick Williams and Braun Breaker. This was awesome. All they did was stare at each other. This is going to be a WrestleMania main event in the future, and I can't wait. Blake Monroe has been getting teased for SmackDown for the past 6 weeks. This is genuinely feeling way too similar to Veer Mahan. Seriously, you can't just keep teasing this forever. Apparently she's writing down notes about everybody. I don't know why she showed up on SmackDown last week, I think it was, with Chelsea Green, making her debut, but then going back to the coming soon graphics. It really doesn't make any sense. Like, you already came. Wait, pause. Please have her debut. We also had a quick backstage segment with Fatal Influence taking out Paige and Brie Bella, and it's seeming like, you know, Fatal Influence has changed their focus, now going after Brie Bella and Paige, which I think, honestly, they should win the tag titles. Paige and Brie aren't even an actual tag team. However, I still want JC Jane in the main event scene. Then we had a promo with Rhea Bloody Ripley, who has a knee injury and is currently, I believe, not cleared medically to compete. Obviously doesn't seem to be anything too serious, but does have an injury nonetheless. Hope Rhea gets well as soon as possible. Jade came out, interrupted her. Surprise, surprise. She also had a taped up shoulder. Hope she gets well as soon as possible. But seeming like she's mostly fine because she had a match between her and Michin going up against Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. And both Tiffy and Charlotte also interrupted here. There was just a lot of interruptions, a lot of chaos going on. I don't really understand why Tiffy came out and interrupted her, saying that the title looks better around her waist because she's, you know, the US champion. I feel like it was probably just to set up the tag match. It felt kind of forced. And I think here we're moving towards Charlotte versus Jade versus Rhea. Likely at SummerSlam, which I think would be pretty sick, pretty sweet. Then in the main event, we had Dominic Mysterio versus Braun Breaker versus Trick Williams versus Damian Priest. And what's interesting about this is all four of the people in this match are champions. Damian's tag champion, Trick US, Braun tag team, and Daddy Dom AAA mega champion, which I thought was kind of cool. But I said in my Latte's Vision video that came out a bit ago that Braun Breaker was going to win this, and I was really certain that that was exactly what's going to happen. But no, the upset of the century was pulled off by Dominic Mysterio, who won the first match, going on to face Oba Femi next week. And I can definitely say I did not see this coming, but I am pleasantly surprised. Glad to see Dom pick up a win because he just kind of has been losing everything recently. However, I do think he's going to lose to Oba Femi here unless Brock Lesnar interferes. The hot take for this one is, does Dom really have a shot here? And I would say probably not. It doesn't really make sense for him to challenge Roman Reigns or Cody Rhodes. I don't think Roman Reigns would be a good match. Cody Rhodes might be alright, but I don't see him winning it all. I'm winning it all. Okay, anyways, thank you all so much for watching this episode of the Smackdown summary. Thank you all so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you want, and